Shad Khan breaks his silence. Still didn't say much. We'll go over that and some other things here that's going on with the Jaguars here on a Tuesday on Locked On Jaguars. Stand by.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for joining me, Tony Wiggins here, your host of Locked On Jaguars, for another edition of the show on a Tuesday. And we appreciate you all making us your first listen, because we are your team every day with daily podcast coverage of your favorite team. Let's just get right to it. Shad Khan finally broke his silence in more ways than one. Apparently, he had a meeting with the coaches, a meeting, ironically, which is about problems that seemingly don't exist, according to Urban Meyer. And amidst some reports from John Pelissero that came out this weekend about turmoil within the ranks of the coaching staff of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And throughout all of that, people kept asking, and in doing those podcasts and some of those out-of-market things that I've done, folks keep asking me this question. Do you think they're going to fire him? Do you think they're going to fire him? I've said that I think he should go, and my thing is, it's not even about what he's done. It's about what I think he's capable of doing in the future. And that doesn't mean he's going to screw up again. That just means that I don't think he's capable, for what I've seen. He's not capable of being the coach that everybody thinks he was, or thought he was, or that he's going to be. So that being said, that's why I said, it's time. Because, when you add the things, everything that we have chronicled about Urban Meyer since he got here, when you add them all up, those things don't help. I'm talking strictly football. Strictly football. Because what you're going to get is you're going to get continued ineptness from Urban Meyer, and then you're going to get, because he's in charge, he's going to stand there and blame other people. That's where we are right now, okay? And way before these reports came out, I've been saying for over a month that he doesn't take accountability for anything. Nothing is his fault. Not even the coaches that he hired, not even the players that he picked, not the guys that he stuck with. None of it's his fault. So that's where we are. I have a bigger issue, though. A bigger one. And it's this time, as much as I like him, it's with Shad Khan. And I'll tell you why. Just like I blame Urban Meyer for stuff because he's the leader. Well, that goes uphill. Urban was chosen by Shad. And while I was all for the CEO type hire of someone like this, because we'd gone through other guys that weren't the CEO types, and I thought that there needed to be a change. He must have convinced Shad some kind of way that he was way more qualified than he really is, and he was way more prepared. Not really qualified, because you get guys all the time that ain't as qualified as Urban, but that he was way more prepared than he really was for this job, and Shad didn't read it correctly. Not only that, here's something that I want to give you guys. By the way, it was a dinner on the boat with the media. I wasn't invited. I don't expect to go to stuff like that, but it was a select group of people. And I don't even know who all was there, by the way, but I will tell you this. I'm always bothered by the fact that there was this meeting this weekend after the reports came out. Then there was this meeting with the media about, apparently this was about him owning the Jaguars, the 10th anniversary of him owning the Jaguars. And what happened was he answered some questions about this. What bothers me about it is this. This is where I look at things with the side eye. For those that are not watching on YouTube, this is where I kind of turn my head to the side. This is what bothers me. You can't tell me you have your finger on the pulse of the team and then have a meeting after reports come out about something, and then not expect me to go, why was there never a meeting before this? And why did the meeting occur after the reports came out? If you have your finger on the pulse of the team, and if you have an open door policy with the people in the building, why did there need to be an emergency meeting after reports came out? Because If this was going on the whole time, there should have been a meeting before. Now, let me show you the pattern here. When players complained that Tom Coughlin was fining them for any and everything, and then Tom Coughlin left here and folks were sitting here saying, okay, the bad guy's gone, I cautioned everyone and told them to wait 1 minute. You don't think for 1 minute that Shad, and at the time Tony, who did have a bigger role at that time, you don't think those guys knew that Tom Coughlin was fining these guys? Why didn't they stop it? So don't let them sit here and go, okay, we got rid of the problem. No, you could have stopped the problem while he was here, fining people for money that most of them end up getting the money back from the NFLPA. At least a lot of those guys get. I know Dante Fowler got $750,000, like 18 months after it was taken from him. The thing is you can't have that kind of deniability and say that you're still friendly with us or you're friendly with me when you sat there and watched someone do this stuff. So the pattern for me is it really to get stuff together, or is it really to make it appear that you're getting stuff together when you've been sitting on your hands this whole time? Now, if it's not that, if you're not doing it for appearances, if you're doing it because you're really trying to get it together, when did you find out about it? Because one of the things that Shad said was he's not living in the vacuum that everyone thinks he's living in. So if you're not living in that vacuum and you have your finger on the pulse of the team, and as you say, you have an open door policy with your players, why is all of this rigmarole that Urban says doesn't exist, that the report says does exist, that all of a sudden now you got to come have this meeting about and talk to your coaches? And now Urban says we're all on the same page. I need to support my coaches. If all of that stuff was going on, why didn't you stop it before Pelissero got a hold of it? And it's all over the NFL network. You see, that's the thing for me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the smartest cat in the world, but I do have some street sense and common sense. That way I got to know what's going on in my own house. And if I don't know what is going on in my own house and other people have to tell me what's going on in my own house, I can't then come out and say I'm in control of my house, because I'm not. And if I am in control and I wait until the report comes out to have a meeting about it, because then it's gotten out. Now what concerns me is I'm more important about controlling information than I am about fixing a problem. So it's not sometimes what you don't say, it's sometimes what you say that makes people scratch their head and gets people to wondering, are you a bigger part of the problem than the person that we're blaming? And it might not be that you're trying to be a problem. It might be that that's your way of doing business, where you delegate authority, where you put somebody in charge and you trust them to do the right thing. Our point is if it's not checking out that way and you get wind of it, are you slow to do something about it, to the problem where it has to become, as I said yesterday, all your roaches come out in the middle of the daytime. They don't just hang out behind the refrigerator until the lights go off. They come in the middle of the floor while you have company. They crawl across your table while you're eating dinner. Then only then do you want to become an exterminator and say, oh, we can't do this. But the whole time you fine with those roaches being behind that refrigerator and crawling all over the house when the lights go off. We got a lot of work to do here, man, and people better realize this is a serious thing. I want to talk about a report that Brady Quinn said something, and I heard it, and you can go online and you can hear about it. It was on one of these podcasts. Well, Brady Quinn actually says that it's the Jacksonville media, because this is what we do. I didn't know, he probably talking about me. He don't know me from a roach behind the refrigerator. But he still said that it's about the media and that certain guys are angry because they don't have access, which I'm not saying it's a lie. It might be one or two guys that don't get one-on-ones with Urban that are pissed off, but I can guarantee you I ain't never heard nobody get mad because they don't have access. In fact, You got more access to Urban Meyer than you did Tom Coughlin. You had more access on the field, in the locker room, in the building than you did when Tom Coughlin was here. So Brady Quinn doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm going to give you more on that in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Because, man, I just want to set the truth. And I'm not in the business of taking up for people who can take up for themselves. But I'm going to set the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth, too, about DirectTV Stream. DirectTV Stream allows you to get rid of the clutter. What clutter am I talking about? Well, it's the clutter of your entertainment, the way that you watch your programming, all of the different sites, devices on the back of the TV, remotes that work for 4 and 5 different things, and then all of the passwords you have to remember on all of your applications. Well, guess what? DirectTV allows you to get your TV together and get rid of the clutter. All you got to do is contact DirectTV.com and tell them you want to learn more about DirectTV Stream. Here's what I can tell you. There's no annual contract, so I know you love that. And then compatible devices are required, and then the contents do vary by package. But you can have all of your TV together in one place, and you learn about that at DirectTV.com by asking them about DirectTV Stream. All right, man, you listen to podcasts for the power of knowledge, right? You switch to Boost Mobile for the power of saving money, because with Boost, you get the power of a free 5G phone so you can listen to all the latest episodes of Locked On Jaguars. The power of 3 unlimited data lines for $30 a month per line so your family can harness all that brain power too. And the power of one of America's largest 5G networks so you can do it all at the speed of 5G. With all the money you'll save and all that knowledge you'll gain, just how powerful will you become? Switch to Boost Mobile and find out today. Get a free Samsung A32 5G when you switch to one of America's largest 5G networks. More power to save. Boost Mobile. Free phones are now limited to new customers and 1 per line. Additional restrictions apply. Offers coverage not available everywhere for all phones or networks. See boostmobile.com for details. All right, I'm going to hit this thing about Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn said, I didn't drop the audio in here because, I didn't want to take off anybody else's stuff. But he essentially said this is what the media does. They get angry when you don't give them access, and then they start telling lies and this, that, and the third. Well, Tom Pelissero doesn't work in Jacksonville, okay? He's a national person for the NFL Network or NFL.com. So, that's not it. Second of all, the media, since Urban Meyer took over, has more access than they had under Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin was very limited into how he allowed guys to roam around and how the type of access that he got. So any media member here will tell you that it's actually gotten better. Third, I haven't heard anyone say that, and I associate and talk to, and also a member of the local media here, and go to games on demand, email, get PR releases from the team every day, just like everyone else. And have not heard that one bit. I talk to a lot of guys in the media daily around here. I haven't heard anyone say that. I wonder if Brady Quinn has ever dealt with Jacksonville media because a lot of what he said was actually the total opposite. What we've been doing here, ironically, is tearing apart what Urban Meyer actually says, not ripping him for what he doesn't say or what he doesn't allow us to hear. When Urban Meyer says that Andre Cisco has been getting more playing time and he didn't have one rep, that's what we pick at. That's not a lack of access. As someone said on Twitter, I think it was Dilly, said, dude has diarrhea of the mouth. He just can't help himself. And so we go by what he says, all right, and what he does, not what we don't do any of this or report any of this stuff because of what is not being said or not being heard or not being done or any of that. And yeah, there are people in the building that have told us, the stuff you heard in that report, if you can go back, and not Brady, but anybody, there's stuff in that report that you guys realize that I've been telling you and hinting at for months that we've talked about. All right. And it comes from people, and this ain't even about somebody being a snitch or some double agent. And that's what they try to make that out to be. And that's not it. What it is there are people you have relationships with, and you check on them and you find out that they got problems. And you, what's wrong? Man, this is too much. Folks are venting. That's what it is. And we don't want people to walk around here and have these issues going on with them and not have an outlet for people to say anything. And most of the time, with all due respect, we don't report everything that we hear. And sometimes that leads to the fans going, well, you don't know. Somebody told me yesterday they hate sources because you don't have to tell who your source is. And I'm sure somewhere in the Supreme Court, folks have fought for the right to have those private sources, right? I don't know anybody that's ever made anything up at all. I know more people that have not reported stuff that they've heard and that they know. This ain't got nothing to do. Urban said yesterday, somebody's brother or somebody or some employee or some company. That ain't what this is. Nobody in this city wants this team to succeed more, with the exception of the fans. No one wants this team to succeed more than the media. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when the team is successful, we're successful. Why would media members who get more attention when something is going good sabotage that for the sake of access that you're not going to get anyway because of COVID-19 protocols? These coaches ain't letting you hang around them and come sit in their office like they used to. So to sit here and say that people are actually complaining about access is a flat out joke. It's a joke. The dude damn near talks every day. He answers questions every day. When Doug Marrone was the head coach and all of this stuff was going on with Jalen, Doug had to beg for somebody. I wish somebody else would come down here and answer these questions. I have no clue. He had to beg for people to be more transparent. And this is just a case of somebody not knowing anything about the local media here and then making that statement. And that makes me feel like, oh, you're just trying to protect the dude that you used to work for. It's just like when people blame the fans for the team not being good. It's just wrong, it's misdirected, and it's a total deflection of what is actually going on here. It has nothing to do with someone being mad for access. It wasn't even a local media person that broke the story. And don't sit here and tell me, yeah, well, they probably told him. Ain't no local media going to tell no national person about a hot story that they know is going to get this much traction. They'll release it themselves. In fact, there's been a big complaint from Jacksonville local media that in the past, local national guys were giving stories that the local guys who work here every day weren't given by members of the organization. So nobody's mad at access. If anything, someone's mad that someone told a national person instead of a local guy. Segment 3 is about this. Don't take your eyes off the prize. Do not be hoodwinked. Do not be fooled into all of these side street conversations. Okay? Don't. The bottom line is they're 2-11. And this was supposed to be the best of the best. And he's obviously hot with some people on his staff. All of this turmoil, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, is happening on his watch, and he's supposed to be a great leader. Don't lose sight of that, because I won't let you, and I'm going to tell you more about that in segment 3 here on Locked On Jaguars. You ever had socks on and you can't get them right because you got a bad stitch? I mean, it feels like you have a little baby rock out of a fish aquarium right between your toe, your little toe, and the edge of that shoe, and it is irritating you all day long. You ever took your sock off and thought you had a pine cone in there or something that you were stepping on and you couldn't find it and nothing came out, and then you put that sock back on again, and once it gets twisted, it starts hurting your foot again? Good. I know you have, because I'm not the only one. I'm going to tell you about Stance. Stance Apparel has launched a new line of active apparel, and it's a real good gift for holidays. It's also a good gift for you to buy yourself. They have socks, shirts, joggers, and hoodies that are outstanding, and the way they're made, they're absolutely comfortable, and you will not feel like there's a sailboat in your shoe when you're walking around all day because of their attention to detail and how they make their product. Please, man, I'm telling you, get you some of these Stances. Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in, that those who feel good do good. Go get yourself registered for an account on stance.com and get 15% off of your next purchase. Use promo code Locked On at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of life's less ordinary stances. That's right. Less ordinary stuff, more comfort. Stance. Get those socks, man. I'm telling you, those socks will make you feel a lot better. We're back here on segment 3 today, here on Locked On Jaguars. We just talked about rocks and shoes. That's what it feels like when you're covering this team. It's never comfortable. You're always going to have to, and as soon as you start reporting something, people going to start digging stuff up and start saying that you're this and you're that and you're this and you're a hater. You're here. Ain't nobody hating on this team, man. You know how much of a fool you'd have to do to go out of your way to hate on a football team that's 3-27 in the last 2 years? Why, that's like hating on some roadkill. He's dead. He don't hear you. Why would anybody think that someone would go out of their way and have to actually pile on? What is there to pile on? They got shut out the other day, 20-0. The players are themselves saying, yeah, I got benched, after the coach said, no, I didn't get benched. Trevor Lawrence is a rookie quarterback, and he's out here standing up here talking like he's Bill Walsh at these press conferences because he's providing cover for half of these people. And if anything the local media can be blamed about, it's for being too enthusiastic and expecting too much, because it was Urban coming in on his iron horse, and because it was Trevor. And some people took this attitude to just take Trevor Lawrence and get out of the way and don't screw it up. And I was like, no. You got to do this thing you got to be detail oriented. You got to do everything right. You got to get him a good offensive line. You got to get good sound football players. You got to get the best talent at every position. You got to really, really have a good strength and conditioning program. And you got to really, really have a good idea of exactly what you're going to do and become a computer program on offense. And you have to always have competition. That means everybody ain't a warrior. That means don't say you got a whole bunch of good football players. You know what you got? You got some fat that needs to be trimmed, and you got some guys that need to show some good tape, because in this offseason, you're going to put 25 more guys in the mix, and guys are going to have to play, and you love them to death, but this is about competition, and this is a battle every single week, and we want the best of the best. Not because I say it, not because you walk around acting like it, but because this is what we have to do to win these games. Or we're going to continue to lose, and we're going to keep pointing fingers and making excuses. That's what it is. This is what it is. In a nutshell, that's what it is. And at some point, I just took you around the beltway of Jacksonville, but some people take exits, and those exits are excuse making. Oh, it's the media's fault. Oh, you're not giving him a chance. Oh, everything Urban does is wrong. No, they are 2-11. Don't lose sight of the fact that they're 2-11. Don't lose sight that they have scored 21 points once. Don't lose sight of the fact that they have not scored more than 21 points at all this season. Don't lose sight of the fact that last year's offense was way better than this year's offense, even though they're 1-15. They were 1-15. Excuse me. So all of these sideline arguments and all of these things that people want to sit here and debate about, and if it's this and if it's that, and nobody's giving him time, and let me clear this last one. Let me knock this last lie out of the way. Everyone here is just used to losing, so when a winner comes to town, it's growing pains. Outside of the people in not people in football, I'm not talking about the staff. I'm talking about in football operations. I would venture to say that there was 95, 96% turnover in the operations department. I'm talking about players, coaches, scouts, GM, strength and conditioning program, the chef. So when you say all of the people who are used to losing, you're talking about the people he brought with him, because there's no one here that lost before that he retained, with the exception of the offensive line coach and Trent Baalke, who was the assistant GM that him and Shad, Urban and Shad chose together, was going to stay on as the general manager, who, by the way, was not on the same page with the previous GM because they just see things two different ways. So when folks say folks are just used to losing and they just don't want to change with the, what people are you talking about that are used to losing? Fans? Media? We ain't making one decision down there. Remember, we don't have any access, and we're just angry that we don't have access. Keep the main thing the main thing. They're 2-11. That's the problem. And when you're 2-11, all of these other things come out, and how the information is given and how it's dealt with further advances the problem. I'm not too impressed with Shad coming down here talking to him and him telling us that he's not living in a vacuum, when if you weren't living in a vacuum, you would have talked to him when it was actually going on in real time, not when Tom Pelissero reported it. So now for all of y'all that saw my tweet the other day when I said, it's not a lie if it's the truth, or it's not a leak if it's false. If it's false, it's a lie. It's not a leak. If you lie on me, I'm more angry about the lie than the fact that you told it. If it's the truth and it got out, then that's a whole different thing, because it's a need to know basis. But if it's something wrong like that and it got out, it is what it is. It seems like to me there's too much emphasis on protecting some sort of brand that isn't very good than it is making sure those people in that building are on the same page and doing what they're supposed to do. You can check out the Locked On Bets podcast daily, because that's what you're supposed to do. Make that your second listen with your boy Q and Lee Sterling. They give it to you, man, all of the gambling information, all of the wagering information that you want and that you need, with all of the tells, and there are a bunch of them every single week, that things won't go like these point spreads might say they should. You need to listen to the Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and Lee Sterling, and make sure you like and subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcast. Man, y'all take care of each other, man. Hopefully at some point we'll get a chance to talk about some good news. I will tell you this, though. I'm looking forward to this. Thursday, I'm having those fools from the Texans, Locked On Texans. It is the bottom of the barrel crossover that we're going to do. And when I get together with them, it's always fun. So until then, you guys continue to take care of each other. We'll see you next time, which will be tomorrow here on the Locked On Jaguars podcast.